Hey sis, welcome back to the channel, and always welcome back to the couch. As always, I'm your host Christy, and we're jumping right into things today. Today is going to be a doozy, so I want you to stay tuned through the entire video so we can talk about all of these things. I've recognized that I've walked and talked with a bunch of different women, and we're all going through some of the same things. But what I don't want us to do is get into the rat race of self-diagnosing or telling ourselves that we have something that we may not have. This platform, this community, is for us to kind of advocate for one another, be a community together, talk to one another so that we don't feel like we're alone, and also give us a safe space to talk about even when we are going through these symptoms. So if you're one of the ones that's catching yourself at 2 o'clock in the morning, Googling symptoms, trying to figure out what it is, what's going on with me, maybe it's perimenopause, maybe it's not. But today, we're going to digest some of these symptoms and try to figure it out. But I don't want you to be worried. I don't want you to be scared because I'm like, is it perimenopause? Is it thyroid? Is it anemia? It could be a plethora of things because perimenopause symptoms can be the same as some of these other things as well. But before we get started, I have to do our Peri check-in. So, how is Peri treating you this week? So, excuse how I look because I did something with my son today with his school, and so he was dressed up, and I just kind of threw something to kind of like go along with it. I think I'm gonna take this off because it's jingling. So it's actually it has like a little Hello Kitty charm on it and a bell, so it's kind of jingling. So I don't want to be distracted by it. But this week, I actually still feel good. I'm not as energetic as I was last week because I'm still like before the cycle. Not really like crazy, like hormonal before the cycle, but I'm still kind of on the upswing after, the positive release of like really good endorphins and feeling good and exercise and ovulation, all those things. So I'm still feeling good. I'm still feeling like I have energy, not super high energy, but I still have energy. And disclaimer, I'll put that on the bottom here, there, somewhere. If you hear my son laughing in the background, this real life. It's real life moments. I'm a real life mom, not a pretend mom, not a play mom. I'm a real life mom. So if you hear him, that's because he's in the next room. Okay, he's in the next room. We're actually waiting for our food to get here. So yes, he's in the next room. So like I said, this week I'm doing good, but I want to know how you're doing. So are you feeling more tired? Is your sleep off? Are you more anxious? Are you more irritable? Are you frustrated? Are you calm? Are you having night sweats? Y'all, my night sweats have been in check. I kind of don't want to jinx myself, but my night sweats have been in check. So yeah, I don't want you to look at anything and be like, hey, what's going on? I'm not having them all of a sudden, so maybe I'm not going through it, or maybe I am. This is what this space is for. So I want to go in and I want to talk about a few different symptoms. And then if you said yes to any of these, maybe you got some other things that you need to look at. And I don't want you to feel like you're alone because you're not alone. So you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just an adjustment. So one of the other conditions that could be possibly going on with you is thyroid. So shared symptoms that perimenopause also have is fatigue, weight changes, mood swings, irregular thyroids, irregular cycles. So you can get blood tests that you can do your TSH, your T3, your T4 blood tests. Those are the things that you can ask for. Iron deficiency anemia. I definitely have. I have iron deficiency anemia. It is due to a heavy cycle. We've talked about this in a previous episode where I said I do the iron infusions. I've done blood work. I've done iron pills. The iron pills don't really work. The iron infusions work better, but they do kind of like knock me out for a couple of days after I do the iron infusions. Not, I feel really tired and groggy. Some people feel like super energized with them. I don't. I feel like crap with them actually. But fatigue, dizziness, irregular bleeding. Although my cycle is not irregular, the iron deficiency anemia can make your cycles a little bit irregular. So you can get your ferritin levels checked. We talked about that with me. My ferritin levels were like in the trash. They were like bad. And what we talked about ferritin as like your storage, your reserve iron, like in the closet. Like you got your bedroom, you got your closet. Like, so the iron that's in the closet that's like being constantly depleted. So that's where mine was this low. and you can get your a complete metabolic panel done. Vitamin D, bone pain, fatigue, mood changes. You can get a vitamin D test done. Those are other things again. So we're seeing some of the same symptoms of perimenopause with some of these other conditions as well. Like again, I talked to a woman the other day, and I don't want anybody to feel like I'm diagnosing you, because this is just a safe space for us to talk about it. And I don't want you to feel like you're diagnosing yourself, but I do want you to feel equipped, and I do want you to feel prepared, and I do want you to be in a situation to where when you go to the doctor, you know what you're talking about. We are conditioned through our life to listen and trust doctors, and we should absolutely trust doctors. We should listen to what they say. They have went to medical school, and they've done all the training, they've done all the research, and they've done all the things. I'll say all that to say we have lived with our bodies through our entire life, whether you're 20 years old, 30 years old, 35, 40, 45, 50. You know what is going on with your body. I shared a story in a previous episode how when I was pregnant with my son, I was having all of these symptoms of cholestasis of pregnancy, and nobody was listening to me. They said all my other labs were fine. There was no way, because it was a separate test for that diagnosis. So they said all my labs were fine. There's no way. I had never been high risk before. I'd never had cholestasis in the previous pregnancies, because it's something like if you have it in one, you typically have it in the remainder of your pregnancies. And so like nobody was listening to me. And I'm like, doc, do the test. Like my body feels off. I know something is off with my body. And I'm not trying to say like, you don't know what you're saying or you know what you're doing, but I know that my body is feeling off. And so I spoke about this in another episode where he did the test, and he came in on his little rolly chair, and he kind of rolled up to me, and he kind of put his hand on my hand and was just like, you really know your body. And I was like, yeah, I know something's off with it. So I just don't like to play around. Like when I feel something's off and I know I feel off, like I want to get it checked out. I want to find out what's going on. So he was like, you're right. You do have cholestasis of pregnancy. It automatically takes you into high risk. I had a whole natural birth plan that I was working on with him. And all of that, unfortunately, kind of got thrown out the window. We did as much as we could in the hospital on the natural route. Like I was able to be in the tub, and I wasn't able to walk around as much as I wanted to walk around. I had to be induced. But I say all that to say, like, it's not to say that the doctors don't know what they're talking about, because they absolutely do. They wouldn't be doctors. I also want you to know that you also know your body. You know what's going on with it. So just going to the doctor and telling the doctor, like, hey, I'm experiencing these symptoms. And they're like, hey, have you tracking your cycles? Are your cycles regular? Yes, my cycles are very regular. They're very regular, like clockwork. Oh, well, you're only X number. You're only 37, and you have irregular cycles, and you're ovulating. Nope, you're fine. You're not. You probably get some years before you even enter into perimenopause, and that's not always true. So part of this community is to get away from the medical gaslighting that a lot of us face, especially minority women, because due to systemic racism, a lot of times we're not taken as seriously. I talked about this in another episode, whereas we have been taught to just muddle through, to just go through it, to be strong, to be the backbone of our families, to carry things that we have not really should have had to carry. Like that soft life has not really been, we haven't been given the option to have that soft life. So again, I want to go through some of these other conditions that could also, so you can also keep those in your mind. And I really, 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 really want you to tune into next week's episode, because next week's is really, this is going to play right into next week. Next week is going to prepare you for when you go to the doctor. You're like, doc, I got this, and this. I've been tracking this. I've been doing this. I've been doing this. So that you go in equipped. You go on with the script. You go on prepared. You go on well-versed, well-educated, and you go and you can advocate for yourself. But you can't do that alone. And you can't do that if you don't know what's going on. If you've just been conditioned to believe that this is normal and this is what you should be doing, you're not going to go in and just believe like, okay, you're saying this normal, because the research hasn't really done what it's supposed to do, especially for us. So we have to talk about it. So vitamin D deficiency, polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS, irregular periods, weight gain, acne, irregular periods, perimenopause, weight gain, perimenopause. We talked about weight gain last week. Acne, which we haven't really talked about, but there's hormonal acne that happens, hormonal headaches. So you can get a hormone panel done or ultrasound done. Autoimmune disorders. So joint pain, fatigue, brain fog. We've talked about brain fog in a previous episode. Again, and I don't say all this to scare you. I say this as an equipping. I say this to keep you informed. I say this so that you're knowledgeable because, and I say this at work too, and it's so funny. We can't fix what we don't know, you know? And sometimes, and I'm just going to say it, sometimes depending upon the insurance that we have, we don't get the same treatment. Whether you're black, white, Puerto Rican, polka dotted, whatever the case may be, we all know that there's levels to insurance. And depending upon the insurance and the provider that you go to and how they feel and how they was raised, although they should not be that way, sometimes we don't get the same treatment. So if you go in knowledgeable with your research, not just he say, she say, but looking at the Mayo Clinic, the menopause resources and things like that, Healthline, and going into looking into those websites, that will help you be more prepared, and you're not just pulling information out the air in conjunction with the fact that you are tracking what's going on with your body. Sleep apnea is another one. Night walking, fatigue, irritability. You're going to be irritable because guess what? You're not sleeping. Your body is not doing what you need to do. Same thing with perimenopause. You may be frustrated. You may have additional anxiety because you're not sleeping. You're not getting the proper rest that your body needs. So there's a sleep study. Actually, two of my boys have been through sleep studies where they hook you up to all these little monitors and they count how many times, like especially if like you're snoring, they count how many times you actually stop breathing in your sleep. So a sleep study can be done for sleep apnea. Depression and anxiety, mood swings, numbness, exhaustion. Like numbness, you just don't want to do anything. You just out of it. You're good. You find it difficult to get up and do the things that you used to love to do, and it's taxing on you. It's pulling on you. The society that we live in and the current climate that's happening right now, there's a lot of people facing this every single day, and you build that all up with just the normal hormonal changes, it could really be a doozy. I talked about this, I believe, in the last episode. If you're up north and the sun is setting sooner, then you got to deal with winter blues. Some people really suffer with winter blues. It's really difficult for them to feel in a happier way when they're not getting that natural vitamin D. They're not able to be in the sun when they're inside closed doors. So I encourage you to go outside, even if it's a little bit of sun, go outside. They have these lights that you can put on your desk now that can give you the photosynthesis, like the synthetic vitamin D or whatever. I forget. Don't quote me, but they have lights that you can get on like Amazon that will help you with people who have like seasonal depression and things of that nature. So they have those. There are rare forms of cancer that can give you the same type of symptoms. So night sweats, weight loss, fatigue, and then you just get a full physical imaging. Get cervical screening and checks and things like that. There's things that we could be doing that we should be doing throughout of our life that a lot of times we don't talk about because it's taboo. And I want to talk about not feeling ashamed, whether you're in perimenopause, not in perimenopause, menopause, whatever. You could be 20, you could be 40, you could be 43, you could be whatever, excuse me, and not in perimenopause. I talked to somebody, it's like I felt like they were relieved. I talked to two women after, she was like, "Oh, I'm not. I did this. My doctor said, I'm like, did you do labs? Did you do this? You told her about your symptoms? Did you?" "Oh, I didn't do any of that, but she said I wasn't because everything else, my cycles are normal." And it was like this sense of relief. And I think it's a sense of relief that came over her because of the fact, like, we have been taught that this is a shameful thing, that it's bad to go through something. Not even necessarily bad, but it's like taboo. We don't talk about, it's too much. It's not too much, y'all. It's not too much. It's life. We go through this life and we have to go through the things that we have to go through. So I don't want anybody to feel bad. And if you're relieved, you're not dealing with it, great, because maybe you don't have the symptoms. That's great. But it's not like I'm going through perimenopause. Like, it shouldn't be like that. I am going out and I'm talking about it more. I don't have any on me right now. I have what I created is a Peri pass. It is a little business card that I've created. On one side, it has a QR code that directs you straight to the YouTube channel. And the other one has the Instagram channel. And on the back, there's just like a little bit, a blurb about perimenopause and menopause and about coming to the table and coming to the channel to be included on the conversation. And I'm really walking up to strangers. I'm walking up to random women that I see in the grocery store, or I took my son to Revved Up and we went play laser tag and we did zip lining. I walked up to random women like, "Hey, my name is Christy. I'm creating a safe space for women to talk about perimenopause and menopause. I'd love for you to scan the QR code and join the conversation. We got to take the taboo off of it. It's so a shame. And I'll tell people, like, I'm 43 and I believe that I'm going through it. Studies show women they have to get so many opinions before somebody even acknowledges it. If it's somebody that does not specialize in hormone therapy or hormones in and of itself, they may not even be able to diagnose it because that's not what their specialty. Like, you go to doctor, a specialty in a heart health, you have a brain doctor, you have urology, you have your OBGYN. There are specialties for a reason, and people, they go to school and then they go in, they hone in on a specialty. Pediatrics. So these specialties are there for a reason. So sometimes we have to find a specialist that specializes in hormones, female hormones, that I can say, I am a hormone specialist. Let's check because even your labs may not be it. But if you're having every single symptom that's knocking you out the park, then something else is going on. And we need to find out the answers. Okay. Early onset dementia, memory loss, confusion, and then you can get a neuro evaluation. Again, I don't want anybody to be scared. It's just a conversation. I wrote it down. Just because it feels like perimenopause doesn't mean that it is. And just because it's not perimenopause doesn't mean that it's not real. You deserve answers and not assumptions. I don't want to go to a doctor that's just going to glass over my symptoms. I want to go to a doctor that's going to listen, that's going to break down what I'm talking about and actually hear me. Don't rush me in the office and rush me out because you have another patient in the next room. If you're not going to take the time to listen to what I'm telling you, because my quality of life is affected by this, and yours is too. Whether it's perimenopause or not, your quality of life is affected for it. If it's the belly fat, if it's the night sweats, if it's something that can be adjusted or can be fixed through a better eating habits or hormone replacement therapy, by all means, doc, tell me what it is. Help me, help you, help me out. Okay. I don't know what it is, but again, that's how they're supposed to tell us. So I wrote down, most providers only ask about cycle regularity. Like, is your cycle regular? Are you ovulating? Are you tracking it? Do you use an app? That's usually like the top of where they go. Hormone levels fluctuate daily. Labs are not always conclusive. So you could do a hormone panel today or run your labs today and then go back in a week or even a couple of days and run them again, and they can be very different because you're depleting, you're using these things on a day-to-day basis. Women often are told it's just stress or you're just aging. Okay, yeah, we're aging, but what comes along with aging? What comes along with stress? And if it is stress, help me decrease my stress, doc, so I don't have to have as many night sweats and I can sleep and I don't have to be as anxious or have so much anxiety or rage or whatever the case may be. And I talked about this. I said this already. I jumped ahead. We're taught to trust providers, but they don't always trust us. So like I said, you walk around this body every single day. You know when something's off. Yet a lot of times we have to wait and prove it and go through months and months and months of dealing with it before it's even addressed. So let's talk about changing this, like kind of reframing our expectations or how we're experiencing what we're experiencing. So whether or not it's peri or not, your symptoms still matter and your symptoms still mean something. It's like you hurt your hand, you hit your hand on something and it's really, really bothering you. You're like, oh, my hand is bothering. It means something. Your hand is bothering because you knocked it up against the wall or you stubbed your toe or whatever the case may be. That doesn't mean ignore it. It means there's something that's an alarm for something. When your engine light on your car comes on or your low oil light comes on, do you say, oh no, it's just it's just about cars. That's what cars do. Lights come on. We just, it's not low oil. I don't get to add oil to it. No, we gonna get a diagnostic test. Okay, so let's do a diagnostic test. We're not declining. Again, I talked about the last episode. We are a caterpillar going into the chrysalis to transform into a beautiful butterfly. So I want us to remember that. It's okay. Perimenopause isn't something to be afraid of. It's not something to fear. It's something to understand. And even when you're not in it yet, this community is here to hold space for you. I want it to hold space for you. So again, it's a lot. This was a shorter episode, but I wanted to hound in on this episode because I've been talking to a few different women. I probably at least 5 or 6 different women were hesitant to have conversations about perimenopause because they were kind of whispering, and they're like, oh, well, you know, I don't want anybody to say or anybody to feel da 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 da. Like, no, sis, it's okay. It's okay. I want people to feel comfortable in their skin. One thing I've worked on through my entire life is working on being comfortable. I grew up being very ridiculed, very picked at, very picked on, and in a situation and atmosphere where I was not always confident with myself. And I'm still working on my confidence to this day. And even doing this channel has helped me out tremendously. But I say all that to say that it's okay. Things happen. We adjust, we evolve, we grow, and I'm telling you, next week is going to be a good one. I have been working on this for a couple of weeks now, and I wanted to have it done by this week, but I didn't want to push it. I didn't want to rush it. So I wanted to take the time to give myself another week to kind of get it together so that we can work through it together. So I always have a challenge for you guys from week to week. So this week's challenge is going to be make sure you are here. We are going to work through next week together. You and I, grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your water, grab a notepad, grab a piece of paper and a pen, and we are going to work through some stuff together. Because I want to equip you. I want to prepare you so that when you go to the doctor, you have what you need. You have the resources and the information that you need so that you can be like, hey, doc, can we talk about these? And if this is not what this is, can you guide me in the direction of what's going on? And if you don't have the answers, doc, that's okay. Can you give me to the person, or can you refer me to another specialist, someone that's going to listen to me? Because again, it doesn't have to be perimenopause, y'all. It doesn't have to be menopause. It doesn't have to be postmenopause. That's on the other side. It doesn't have to be either one of those. But I still want to prepare you, and the conversation is still valid whether you're in it or not. Because at some point, as women, you are going to go through it. It doesn't matter. The conversation doesn't stop because you're not dealing with it right now. It really doesn't. So, take charge of your own life and your own health. The same things that we tell our families, our kids. You see something, say something. You know something's going on, speak up. Speak up, speak up, speak up. You gotta speak up. You tell your kids to advocate for themselves. You gotta advocate for you too. You really do. You really have to advocate for yourself. And I'm really excited about next week. I mean, I'm excited week to week. I say that every week, but I'm really excited about next week because I'm really passionate about what's going on. So I may be able to drop a picture of what the Peri Pass looks like on here. And then that's just, like I said, it's just something that I'm showing, that I'm walking up to random people to start the conversation. It's a very needed conversation. A lot of people are now talking about it. I spoke to one woman and she was like, oh, yes, I'm a nurse. I would love to, engage in the conversation. Are you open to, taking people to come and talk as well? Absolutely. Yes, I am. Like, let's talk about it. Come on, providers, nurses, doctors, let's talk about it because we need to do the research. We need to dig in deep and figure out what's going on. So I'll quit rambling. So again, the challenge for next week is for you to show up. Next week's challenge is for you to be on the couch. It's to show up, be there, be here, or be square. No, not really be square, but be on the couch so that you know what's going on. We've got a fun project that we're going to do together, and I'm so excited. It's going to be good. Like I said, bring your pen, bring your paper, bring your water, whatever it is that you got, that you need. Bring a little snack, bring some little chips, something. Bring something with you so that you can be prepared to do this together. And again, thank you so much for checking out the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And before I go, I gotta let you know, you don't gotta be in Peri to get all the information that you need to know. All right? See you guys on the next episode. Bye.
September we met, I could tell by your smile, you hadn't been with a good girl.